Naomi Watts, what an incredible journey she's had. The acclaimed British-Australian actress, known for her stunning performances in films like Mulholland Drive, The Ring, and The Impossible, has not only dazzled audiences with her talent but has also shared glimpses of a deeper side of herself. It's her openness about spirituality and the human condition that truly adds another layer to her persona. Isn't it fascinating when celebrities let us in, showing us that they too search for meaning, just like the rest of us? For Naomi, this search has led her down a path that resonates with Buddhist teachings and spirituality. Want to explore the deeper side of life, just like Naomi Watts? Hit that subscribe button and join our journey. Over the years, Watts has cultivated a profound interest in Buddhism, a journey that was particularly influenced by her encounters with the Dalai Lama, the renowned spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism. Imagine that, sitting in the presence of the Dalai Lama, listening to his messages of compassion and inner peace. How could one not be moved? Although Naomi has never formally declared herself a practicing Buddhist, she has often shared how the philosophy of Buddhism has influenced her outlook on life. The ideas of compassion, mindfulness, and living fully in the present moment are deeply ingrained in her way of being. Who among us couldn't benefit from such wisdom, especially in today's chaotic world? Naomi's interest in Buddhism seems to stem from her own personal journey through the roller coaster that is life in Hollywood. Fame can be overwhelming. It's a world that often celebrates the superficial, where the spotlight can either lift you up or cast harsh shadows. The Dalai Lama's teachings about compassion, kindness, and finding peace within resonate with many, but for Naomi, they seem to have provided a kind of sanctuary. In interviews, she has talked about grounding herself amidst the pressures of fame. Doesn't that sound like something we all need? To be able to look within, cultivate inner peace, and rise above the noise is an admirable goal, whether you're a movie star or an everyday person navigating life's demands. One particularly memorable moment for Watts was when she attended one of the Dalai Lama's public talks at the California Science Center in Los Angeles in 2014. Can you imagine being in that room? The energy, the warmth, the humility, it's no wonder Naomi described it as an exceptional afternoon. The Dalai Lama spoke about how the teachings of Buddhism can help navigate the complexities of modern life, a message that clearly struck a chord with her. His teachings, emphasizing mindfulness, emotional balance, and altruism, offered a sense of comfort that Watts has openly embraced. How often do we get the chance to step back and reflect on these values in our own lives? Her reflections on the teachings remind us that there is beauty in simplicity, in just being present, even amidst the storm. Naomi's connection to Buddhism goes beyond just her personal journey, it extends into her humanitarian work as well. The core values of Buddhism, such as reducing suffering and practicing compassion, are evident in her charitable endeavors. She's supported numerous causes over the years, from helping children and refugees to supporting survivors of natural disasters. Isn't it inspiring to see someone using their platform to make a difference? It's as if Watts embodies the Buddhist principle of extending kindness to all beings, a reminder that our actions, big or small, have the power to make an impact. What about her career, though? Could her spiritual leanings influence her choice of roles? It certainly seems that way. Many of Naomi's roles explore the depths of the human condition, trauma, resilience, transformation. In The Impossible, she plays a mother struggling to reunite her family after a devastating tsunami. In 21 Grams, she portrays a woman grappling with profound loss. The authenticity and emotional depth she brings to these roles suggests something more, a personal connection to themes of suffering and empathy. Perhaps her affinity for Buddhist teachings helps her tap into these complex characters in a truly profound way. Isn't it remarkable how art and spirituality can intertwine, allowing an actress to not just portray a role but to live it, to feel it? Naomi has also been candid about how important mindfulness and meditation are in her life, practices that lie at the heart of Buddhism. She speaks of how meditation helps her maintain clarity, how it gives her the strength to navigate the pressures of her career. Can you picture her, just taking a moment to sit quietly, to breathe, to let go of all the stress? It's such a simple practice, yet so powerful. In a world that often demands constant action, finding those moments of stillness can be revolutionary. Naomi has made it a point to carve out this time for herself, to ensure that she stays present for her work, her family, her children. It's a beautiful reminder for all of us. Sometimes, we need to slow down to truly live. And then there's her perspective on life, love, and relationships. Naomi often speaks about the impermanence of life, a core concept in Buddhism that teaches acceptance of change. This understanding seems particularly fitting for someone in the entertainment industry, where success is fleeting, and public perception is ever-changing. Watts appears to embrace this impermanence, realizing that neither triumphs nor failures define her. What a liberating thought! To live without being attached to outcomes, to focus instead on growth, compassion, and resilience, this is what makes her journey so relatable, so real. The Dalai Lama's influence on Naomi Watts is a testament to the universal nature of his message, a message of love, compassion, and kindness that transcends boundaries and speaks to people from all walks of life. For Watts, these teachings are more than just words, they are a guide, helping her navigate her professional and personal life. In a world where we are often told to chase success, she reminds us that what truly matters is how we treat others. How we cultivate empathy and understanding. Isn't that the kind of message we need more of today? Naomi Watts may not be a formal practitioner of Buddhism, but her admiration for the Dalai Lama and her interest in Buddhist-inspired practices show a meaningful connection. It's a connection that provides her with comfort, guidance, and a sense of purpose, something that we all, in one way or another, are searching for. Her journey reminds us that spirituality isn't about labels or rigid practices, it's about the values we live by, mindfulness, compassion, and the recognition that we are all interconnected. Watts integrates these values into her life, on-screen and off, making her not just an actress but a person striving to live authentically and compassionately. And isn't that, after all, the essence of a life well lived? Naomi Watts' journey towards spiritual exploration is not one that began overnight, it is a journey shaped by years of experiences, challenges, and reflections. One of the reasons Watts' connection to Buddhism feels so authentic is because it appears to have been an organic evolution, not a sudden conversion or a publicity stunt. There is something deeply human about her desire to find balance, peace, and meaning in her life. This desire is universal, isn't it? Whether we're struggling with personal difficulties or the relentless pace of modern life, the quest for inner tranquility is something we can all relate to. It is interesting to think about the nature of spirituality in Hollywood. The entertainment industry, in many ways, is about creating illusions, about taking on identities and transforming reality, even if only for a moment. Yet, in the midst of all this illusion, there is a real hunger for authenticity. Perhaps that is why so many celebrities are drawn to spirituality and mindfulness practices. For Naomi, Buddhism offers a counterbalance to the often superficial demands of her career. The glamour of Hollywood, with its red carpets, flashing lights, and endless attention, can be both exhilarating and exhausting. The Buddhist practices of meditation and mindfulness provide Watts with a space to reconnect with herself, to find that authenticity that the industry sometimes strips away. Naomi's experiences with mindfulness are not just limited to her own personal practice, they also influence how she engages with others, both in her personal relationships and in her professional collaborations. In interviews, she has spoken about the importance of being fully present, of truly listening when interacting with others. Can you imagine how different our relationships would be if we all embraced this level of attentiveness? Whether it's a conversation with a friend, a moment with her children, or working on set with fellow actors, Naomi's emphasis on presence and connection is a powerful reminder of the value of human relationships. It's not always about the grand gestures or the big achievements, sometimes, it's the simple act of being there, of being fully present, that makes all the difference. Watts' interest in spirituality and her engagement with the Dalai Lama also speak to her desire to contribute to the world beyond her acting career. One of the core teachings of Buddhism is the idea of reducing suffering, not just our own but also that of others. Naomi has taken this teaching to heart, supporting various humanitarian efforts over the years. Her advocacy for refugees, her support for children in need, and her involvement in disaster relief efforts are all reflections of her commitment to alleviating suffering. It's easy to talk about compassion, but it's another thing entirely to put it into action. Naomi's work reminds us that compassion is not a passive emotion, it is active, it is engaged, and it has the power to create real change. The roles that Naomi chooses in her career also seem to reflect her deeper philosophical leanings. She has a knack for selecting characters that grapple with complex emotional landscapes, that experience deep loss, transformation, and growth. In The Impossible, Watts portrays a mother caught in the aftermath of a natural disaster, battling against all odds to reunite with her family. The raw intensity of her performance speaks to something fundamental about the human spirit, about resilience, love, and the will to survive. These themes are very much in line with the teachings of Buddhism, which speak to the inevitability of suffering but also to the potential for growth and transformation through it. In 21 Grams, Watts delivers a gut-wrenching performance as a woman dealing with unimaginable grief. The film delves into themes of life, death, and the interconnectedness of human experiences. There is something profoundly spiritual about her portrayal, as if she is not just acting but truly channeling the depth of human suffering and the quest for redemption. Perhaps it is her own spiritual journey that allows her to connect so deeply with these roles. In Buddhism, there is an acknowledgement of suffering as an intrinsic part of the human experience, but there is also a path to liberation, a path that involves understanding, compassion, and the letting go of attachments. Through her roles, Naomi seems to explore these very concepts, inviting audiences to reflect on their own lives and their own struggles. The concept of impermanence, a fundamental teaching in Buddhism, also seems to resonate deeply with Watts. Life is constantly changing, and nothing is permanent, not our successes, not our failures, not even our relationships. For someone in the public eye, this understanding can be incredibly freeing. Hollywood is a world that often defines people by their last success or failure, but Naomi seems to have moved beyond that. She understands that her worth is not defined by box office numbers or critical reviews. Instead, she focuses on the process, on the journey, and on what she can learn from each experience. Isn't that something we could all benefit from? To focus less on the end result and more on the journey itself? Naomi's emphasis on mindfulness extends to her role as a mother as well. In interviews, she has talked about the importance of being present for her children, of creating a space where they feel heard and understood. Parenting, like acting, requires a deep level of presence, a willingness to engage fully in the moment, to put aside distractions, and to be there for another person. For Watts, the practice of mindfulness is not just about finding peace for herself, it is about creating an environment where her children can also thrive. It's about modeling the kind of compassion and presence that she hopes they will carry with them as they grow. Isn't that the essence of what it means to be a parent? To guide, to nurture, and to help another being navigate the complexities of life? Her relationship with the Dalai Lama also highlights Naomi's desire to connect with something greater than herself. The Dalai Lama's teachings are universal, they speak to the importance of love, compassion, and understanding, values that transcend religious or cultural boundaries. For Watts, these teachings provide a framework for how to live a meaningful life. It's not about adopting a specific religious identity, it's about embodying the values that make us better human beings. In a world that often feels divided, the Dalai Lama's message is a reminder of our shared humanity. And isn't that what spirituality is ultimately about? Finding ways to connect, to understand, and to love one another despite our differences? Naomi Watts' spiritual journey is a reminder that we are all, in our own ways, searching for meaning. Whether through religion, art, relationships, or personal introspection, we are all trying to make sense of the world and our place in it. For Watts, Buddhism has provided a lens through which to view her experiences, a guide to help her navigate the ups and downs of life. Her story reminds us that spirituality is not a destination but a journey, one that evolves and grows with us over time. It is about asking questions, seeking understanding, and striving to be better, even when the path is unclear. In her humanitarian work, her acting roles, and her personal life, Naomi embodies the core principles of Buddhism: compassion, mindfulness, and the recognition of our shared humanity. She shows us that spirituality is not confined to meditation cushions or temples. It is lived in our actions, our relationships, and the choices we make every day. It's in how we treat others, how we respond to challenges, and how we find moments of stillness amidst the chaos. For Watts, these practices are not just about personal well-being, they are about contributing to the well-being of others, about making the world a little bit kinder, a little bit more compassionate. Naomi's journey also invites us to reflect on our own lives. How do we find balance in a world that often feels overwhelming? How do we cultivate compassion, not just for others but for ourselves? How do we stay present when life pulls us in 1,000 different directions? These are questions that Watts has asked herself, and in sharing her journey, she encourages us to do the same. It's not about having all the answers, it's about being willing to explore, to reflect, and to grow. In the end, Naomi Watts' connection to Buddhism and the Dalai Lama is not about labels or formalities. It's about the values she chooses to live by, values that inspire her work, her relationships, and her approach to life. It's about the willingness to look inward, to confront the difficult parts of ourselves, and to cultivate a sense of peace that we can then share with the world. And isn't that what we all hope for? To live a life that is not just successful but meaningful, not just busy but balanced, not just about ourselves but about the greater good? Naomi's story is a testament to the power of spiritual exploration, to the courage it takes to look beyond the surface and to seek something deeper. Her journey reminds us that no matter who we are or what we do, we all have the capacity for compassion, for mindfulness, and for making a difference. It shows us that spirituality is not about perfection, it's about progress, about taking small steps every day towards a more meaningful, more connected, and more compassionate life. And perhaps, in following her example, we too can find a bit more peace, a bit more purpose, and a bit more joy in our own journeys. Naomi Watts' journey is far from over, and neither is ours. As she continues to explore, to grow, and to share her light with the world, she invites us all to do the same. To find our own paths, to seek our own truths, and to live each day with intention, compassion, and love. Because, in the end, isn't that what truly matters?